From politics to pizza, today I'm going to share 100 differences I've experienced as an American living in Germany about these two countries. Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are two Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. If you're new to our channel, we've lived in Germany for over 3 years now, and have spent the last 3 years uploading videos nearly weekly about differences we've come across in our lives in the US and in Germany. This has meant thousands of differences have been discussed in very intense detail and very thorough explanation. But today, I want to cover 100 of some of the most interesting differences we've come across in a lightning round without any of the deep explanation. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in our video. 100 differences between Germany and America's existences. Traffic lights in Germany flash the yellow light not just before the light turns red, but also right before the light turns green. In the US, the light will turn straight from red to green. In Germany, they use a 2-hole punch for paper, and a hole puncher easily fits in one hand. In the US, a 3-hole punch is used and obviously requires a longer hole puncher. German books print the title of the book on the spine to be read from bottom to top, whereas books in the US are printed with the titles on the spine to be read from top to bottom, leaving our bookshelves a OCD nightmare. German diagonal stripe ties run the diagonals raising from the right hip up to the left shoulder, whereas American ties have diagonals falling from the right shoulder down to the left hip. In Germany, eggs are sold in cartons of 10, but in the US, eggs are sold in cartons of 12. German children snack on Kinder Surprise eggs. Kinder Surprise eggs are verboten in the US. German calendars start their week on Monday, whereas American calendars start their weeks on Sundays. German couples sleep peaceful nights with separate duvet covers. American couples fight through the night over their shared single cover. Germans wander their streets lost, as Google Street View for the most part is non-existent in Germany, whereas Americans blissfully arrive to their destinations after checking the extensive network of Google Street Views that do exist in the US. In Germany, this is known as the Great Wagon, but in the US, this is known as the Big Dipper. German grocery stores and most stores in general require you to either bring your own bags or buy bags to take home your goods, whereas in the US, you're given an excessive amount of free bags, which are then repurposed as trash bags or stored in a cabinet for that just in case moment when you might need a random bag. German moviegoers regularly enjoy a bottle of beer at their local theater, but many American states actually have laws against beers in movie theaters. Germans love eating them a good scoop of raw pork. Americans are scared of getting trichinosis. German grocery store checkout clerks comfortably sit while they scan goods. American checkout clerks are forced to stand without any real rhyme or reason. Recipes in Germany give ingredient amounts by weight, but American recipes give amounts in volume. Married couples in Germany wear their wedding rings on their right hand, while American couples wear them on their left hand. Germans have the unfortunate experience of having to buy their hot dogs floating in what they call sausage water in jars, while Americans find it weirdly more delectable to buy them in a vacuum sealed package. German cars have stickers placed on the windshield to show the emission levels of that car, which then specifies where that vehicle is allowed to drive for environmental and health reasons, but American cars have nothing of the sort. The McRib is a staple item year-round on German McDonald's menus. However, the McRib is only a seasonal item on US McDonald's menus. A Mars bar in Germany is the same thing as a Milky Way bar in the US, but a Milky Way bar in Germany is a vanilla-flavored version of a Three Musketeers bar in the US. In Germany, we only buy candles at TK Maxx, but we would buy candles at TJ Maxx in the US. For breakfast, Germans prefer to eat soft-boiled eggs, while Americans prefer to eat scrambled eggs. Germans are required to pay a TV and radio tax used to fund public television, radio, and online media sources available to all living in Germany. The US has significantly less public television, which there is no specific tax for. Germans generally prefer to drink sparkling water, whereas Americans prefer still water. Real quick, guys, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to all of our patrons over on Patreon for supporting our channel. Truly, I appreciate all that you guys have done to support our work. And for the rest of you guys, I will leave a link in the description to our Patreon page if you would like to find out how you could also support our channel as well. But if you all would simply hit those like and subscribe buttons, you wouldn't believe how far that goes in helping support our channel. Now, back to the list. In Germany, it is quite rare if you ever see a German flag flying, unlike in the US where flags fly everywhere and all around you at all times. If you want extra packets of sauce like ketchup in German restaurants, you will typically have to pay extra for these, but in American restaurants, it is expected you can basically get unlimited amounts of sauce at no additional costs. One of the largest telecommunication companies is known as Telekom in Germany, but T-Mobile in the US. Prices you see listed in German stores always include the sales tax already added in, unlike in the US where sales tax is always added at checkout and is not displayed on goods. German toilets often have two buttons, one for more water and one for less water depending on the amount of contents in the toilet, unlike American toilets which typically have a single lever or button to indiscriminately flush away whatever is inside. A common clothing item found in Germany that men wear are capris, whereas in the US, this is viewed almost strictly as a female clothing style. A must-watch event in Germany every year is the comedy skit Dinner for One on New Year's Eve, which is a short English language black and white show about a butler getting increasingly drunk at an old lady's birthday party. Americans have no idea this exists and therefore doesn't watch it on New Year's. At gas stations, shopping malls, and some restaurants across Germany, it is very common to either have to pay to use the restroom or to leave a tip for a bathroom attendant after using it. In the US, bathrooms are always free, and this concept of paying to use one is extremely foreign. Germans serve their sausages in a bread roll with an obscenely long wiener hanging out either side, but in the US, sausages are nearly always served in an equally lengthy and proportional bun. Now let's change it up a bit for this one and talk about a similarity in both Germany and the US. The most popular sport is football. German orange Fanta isn't actually orange at all and is yellow, unlike in the US where Fanta got a little carried away and is basically neon orange and significantly sweeter. German men are expected and willingly do urinate while sitting, whereas American men aren't able to set their pride enough to the side to bring themselves not to stand and pee. Germany is famous for having their country shut down on Sundays as no one can do anything like shopping, while Americans use Sundays as an important day of the week to get errands done. Germans almost always remove shoes before walking inside a house and will slip on slippers, whereas Americans are much more likely just to wear their outdoor shoes inside their home as well. One of the worst possible atrocities that can happen in Germany is public holidays falling on the weekend, because you don't get to make up for this happening and get a day off from work like you do in the US, where we are given either the Friday before or Monday after off if a public holiday falls on a weekend. Germans and Americans often write the numbers 1, 7, and 9 very differently. In Germany, none of these are called steins, but in the US, Americans call all of these steins, thinking that's what they're called in Germany. The date is written in day, month, year format in Germany, but written in the month, day, year format in the US. For messaging, Germans use WhatsApp primarily, along with a few other messaging apps, but many Americans don't even know what WhatsApp is and primarily uses iMessage or whatever other built-in text messaging apps is on their phone. Germans can't legally sell Cheetos in Germany, but the US loves to sell and consume Cheetos. German school grades range from 1 to 6, but American school grades range from A to F, mysteriously skipping E. German homes typically have a long line of trash cans for separating trash. American homes typically just have one or maybe two for the more environmentally conscious households. The most important political leader in Germany is known as a chancellor, and in the US, they are known as a president. New Year's is the primary holiday for fireworks in Germany, but Independence Day is the primary holiday for fireworks in the US. Most jackets with zippers in Germany have the zipper pull on the left side of the jacket regardless of gender. In the US, it is more common to have the zipper pull on the left for just women's jackets, but on the right for men's jackets. Nearly all cups in Germany where you can purchase a drink will have a little line proving the amount of liquid in the glass. In the US, these don't exist. But that is primarily because in Germany, you just buy the one drink and don't get free refills, whereas in the US, it is expected at restaurants to be able to have all you can drink via free refills. In Germany, it is taboo to wish someone happy birthday any earlier than midnight on their birthday, but in the US, it is very acceptable to do so. Where Germans use commas and decimals to denote numbers, Americans just switch them. Eggs are not refrigerated in German grocery stores, but are refrigerated in American grocery stores. The standard paper size in Germany for printer paper is A4 and letter size in the US. German children are divided into 3 primary school levels dependent on aptitude after the 4th grade. American students all follow the same school trajectory, but may follow different academic levels within those schools. Butter is typically sold in large blocks in Germany and long skinny sticks in the US. German highways do not allow advertisement billboards along them, while in the US, highways are lined with billboards advertising businesses and services, with one following another for miles and miles. What are supposed to be healthier sodas in Germany are not allowed to be called diet sodas. So in Germany, you have, for example, Coca-Cola Light, whereas in the US, you have Diet Coke. If you are part of a Christian faith, in Germany, you have to pay a church tax, which is different depending on if you are Protestant or Catholic. Unlike in the US, where church funding is completely dependent on voluntary tithes and not a tax. German restaurants do not typically have a waiting area, and if a table is open, you just take it. Whereas in the US, you must wait in the waiting room for an available table, and then you are seated by a hostess once one becomes available. Germans count on their hands like this, whereas Americans count on their hands like this. Germans are very proud of their bread, and therefore this is not considered bread. However, this is bread in the US. At German grocery stores, you are expected to bag your own groceries at checkout, unlike in the US where there is an employee of the grocery store who bags your groceries and then loads it in your basket for you. Sometimes they will even push your groceries to your car and load them up for you as well. It is very common for Germans to move with their kitchens, and many apartments and homes won't have any cabinets or appliances in them before you move in, with the expectation that you will bring your own. In the US, the kitchen is one of the main selling points of a home and are already installed. In Germany, universities don't have organized collegiate sports like in the US, where often collegiate sports draw bigger crowds than professional sports. And iced coffee in Germany means scoops of ice cream in a glass with coffee poured over it to be eaten as a dessert. And iced coffee in the US means a cold coffee with ice cubes in it to be drunk as an alternative coffee drink. To be able to drive a car alone in Germany, you must wait until you're 18. In the US, most of the country you are able to do so at 16. Germans default to eating white asparagus, Americans default to green asparagus, and most don't even know a white asparagus variety exists. In general, every car in Germany must get inspected and approved to drive every 2 years, and this does exist in some states in the US, but for example, my home state in Oklahoma has no laws on getting cars inspected for roadworthiness. German addresses are written with the street name, then the house number, zip code, then city name. In the US, we do it opposite. Germany has a multi-party system with a multitude of parties to choose from. The US has 2, and well, I guess some fringe small parties trying to gain ground. Cheesecake in Germany is made with a quark base, an ingredient basically unknown in the US, where cheesecakes have a cream cheese base. German windows primarily use an awesome invention called Rolladens to block out the sun and protect the windows on the outside of the house. Americans primarily use blinds hanging inside the house. When you order a drink in Germany, the default will be no ice in the drink. But when you order a drink in the US, the default is ice in the drink. Germans are required to carry a high visibility vest, warning triangle, and a first aid box in their cars. Americans aren't required to have any safety equipment like these in their car. German grocery stores have massive sections of unrefrigerated shelf-stable milk, which is very common to buy. Something that freaks most Americans out, as basically all milk is refrigerated in the US. It is legal to drink alcohol in public in Germany. In most of the US, you aren't allowed to drink in public. In Germany, it is common for the general population to use a 24-hour clock, but in the US, this is known as military time because primarily just the military uses a 24-hour clock, while the rest of the population sticks to just the 12-hour format. One big thing I always want to stress for most of these cultural differences, there aren't rights or wrongs and just simply different ways of approaching things that we can't simply just view through our own cultural lens and judge another culture for. But in Germany, they put traffic lights on the wrong side of intersections directly above your head, making it hard to see, unlike in the US where they are across the intersection at a comfortable viewing height. At German gas stations, you typically fill up first, then go pay for the gas inside the gas station, unlike in the US where you are normally required to pay first, typically at the pump, and then fill up. A common recreational activity in Germany are all nude and co-ed saunas, and you may even go with your family where you all sit naked sweating together. In the US, not only would you never find mixed nudity unless it's a specific nudist resort situation, and not only would you never get naked with your family or friends, but also saunas in general just aren't that popular in America. German political signs typically have politicians' faces on them, whereas most American political signs just have the party and the politician's name. No faces. German school buses usually are just city buses that have designated routes for school children and look no different than the rest of the city's public transportation. However, we all know the classic and iconic American yellow school bus, which is used primarily just for this reason. German pancakes are typically a little bit more closely resembling a crepe, as they are thinner than American pancakes, which are thick and fluffy. When paying with a card at a restaurant in Germany, a card reader will be brought to the table and you pay right there, unlike in the US where they will carry your card away from the table and a stranger will swipe it at a terminal station that you typically can't see. In Germany, this is a margarita pizza, whereas this would just be called a cheese pizza in the US, but this is a margarita pizza in the US. Also, this is a pepperoni pizza in the US, but this is a pepperoni pizza in Germany. Germany is famous for having parts of the Autobahn that doesn't have any speed limit, but in the US, every highway has some sort of speed limit that varies from place to place. Christmas presents in Germany are opened on the evening of December 24th, but opened on the morning of December 25th in the US. Germans and Americans can both agree that these mean the same value. But in Germany, this is actually the same value as this in the US, but that in Germany is equal to this in the US. Germans count floors of buildings like this, but Americans count the floors of buildings like this, causing us to accidentally walk into the wrong apartment sometimes when we're told it's on the first floor. The legal age to buy alcohol in Germany is just 16 for beverages such as beer and wine, and 18 for spirits, whereas one must wait until they are 21 in the US for all forms of alcohol purchasing. German TV shows air for much longer stretches of uninterrupted time and then have very long commercial breaks, whereas in the US they typically have much more but shorter commercial breaks during a show. Germans tend to use a lot more roll-on and spray deodorants, whereas in the US the default is typically a stick of deodorant. The word kindergarten in Germany refers to an optional childcare or preschool for children 3 to 6 years old, with actual school starting in the first grade. In the US, kindergarten is the first grade of elementary school and is for children 4 years old starting their school careers. If you order a lemonade in Germany, you will receive basically a drink that is simply any non-alcoholic, sparkly, fruity drink, which may or may not actually contain any lemon, unlike in the US where a lemonade only refers to drinks with bases of the juice of, wait for it, a lemon, water, and some sugar, but you can add other flavors to that too as well. Germans generally prefer to use massive 80 by 80 centimeter square pillows to sleep on, but Americans prefer roughly 51 by 66 or 76 centimeter rectangle pillows. Finally, if one is in Germany, they might say all of these differences are just like trying to compare apples to pears, but an American would say it's like comparing apples to oranges. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is: do you floss your teeth every day, less often, or dare I say, never? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in our next video. In the US, bathrooms are always free, and this is concept of where you all sit naked, sweating together in the all around at refills. Free refills.